Let's talk about LSU football. All right. We talked about them getting back in practice. They talk about, John Emery doing it. They had some, at this point in the year, you're going to have situations in your practice. And part of the segments, right, that you have in practice, you have, 11 on 11, you have 1-on-1s, 2-on-2s, you have, individual portions of practice, and then you have whatever specific situation, whether that's 2-minute drill, whether that's goal line, whether that's your back, whatever the situation is. Today it was goal line segment.
Well, it was red zone too.
Red zone.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it said goal and red zone and goal line because the goal line segment was at the 10-yard line in. So that's kind of the situation, which obviously very important because once you get in the red zone, that's kind of when everything kind of squeezes up and narrows in.
And that's what Paul. That's what Brian Kelly started. There's a chat about the track question about Paul. We'll get to that. But Brian Kelly
track. I thought you said there's a track question about Paul.
No, there's a chat question.
But got it.
About BK, who was talking about the red zone. He said it was a mentality day, and he was talking about the defense being backed up, and he was saying, "Is this something that you feel like should we do the easy thing and give up a touchdown, or are you going to bow your neck, bite down on your mouthpiece, and bow your neck?" And get a stop.
Right.
And it turns out that the LSU defense came to play a little bit today.
Yeah. I must say, here's what I love about what they're doing right now, and obviously today is a kind of a culmination of how they've been doing some of this, but the defensive staff that you've put in has come with so much energy and so much fire, and obviously they're implementing their defensive philosophy and how they want to run their defense and what they want to do and getting those guys acclimated to that, which is great. That's what you need. They need to be able to do that, and that's kind of what camp is for. But what they seem to have not lost in this camp is not so much working on 1, 2, 3, you fit this outside shoulder. It is a attitude and a culture of competition. And it's man against man, me against you, and it's dudes trying to win every snap, every rep in all those situations while figuring out where and how am I going to fit in these roles. And I think being able to do that is huge because, so much when you practice, you forget about that there's always going to be that competition element there that you can't eliminate just because you're trying to get technique and alignment and assignment and fundamentals down. And it seems like they're doing a really good job this year especially of making sure that there's so much damn competition and enthusiasm around the competition every day when they're doing it.
Well, I think that's the big thing, right? There's going to be sometimes situations that through the course of the year that there's going to be either mental lapse or there's going to be a mix-up and there's going to be, they're going to give up some plays. I'm not saying that they're going to happen a lot, and it hopefully doesn't happen very often at all. But the one thing that has been a consistent theme of this defense so far in camp is the energy and the passion and what they're playing and how hard they're playing. And that was the one thing that we really didn't see last year, right? Take away all the, third down conversions we gave up. Take away all of the, big busted plays that we gave up on defense. Part of all of that, you look at it and be like, man, it doesn't look like these guys have any passion or any energy or playing hard at all, right? And whether that's true or not, that was the perception of it. And so it's nice to see these guys have that type of energy and that type of mentality.
But before you move on to, I'll say this, so I'll add this part to it too. People have to understand, if I'm getting this type of enthusiasm and energy and passion and it's day 1 or day 2, that's great. Good.
Yeah.
But when you're getting beat on and leaned on and fighting on in the sun and in the heat and the same dudes and sweating through and you're doing the same thing every day and we're 11 days in and I'm still getting that level of it, that shows me that the culture's changing. That shows me that they're bought in. And when you get guys to buy in, you can get guys to play above whatever their ceiling, whatever you thought their ceiling was.
Well, and Brian Kelly's come out and said, the kids love playing for Blake Baker. They have a, camaraderie, chemistry with the group of guys. And I think that's important. That's something you didn't feel like you had last year. Right? And so that, to me, that in itself is going to make the defense better.
Well, it felt like
top 30.
Felt like with your guy last year, Matt House, it was a lot of NFL type of preparation approach to what you were doing as opposed to Blake Baker, younger guy, understands college football and actually wants to bring a little bit of energy and enthusiasm Like Greg Penn got a stop today on 3rd and goal. Like him and Caleb Jackson meeting the hole, 3rd down stop. Blake Baker runs on the field and starts like trying to pick up Greg Penn. That's something that I don't see Matt House doing. And you've seen him catch interception, return it, see him drop an interception, give you push-ups. Like his energy is infectious. And they had some plays today in the goal line situation or inside the 10, and defense got 2 straight stops all in the air, or 3 straight stops all in the air. And you had Blake Baker on the side, and we whooping that ass.
Yeah.
We whooping that ass.
And that's what you want.
Here's the thing: even if it's not Blake Baker, you usually need to have somebody who's either willing to and or allowed to do it.
Right.
That's usually, you don't always find that. Like, it's hard to. There's a lot of times where stuff like that gets lost in translation, and you just don't have that kind of energy and enthusiasm around a program coming from the defensive coordinator himself. It bodes well for them going throughout the year.
And you saw it with the Detroit Lions on that Hard Knocks whenever they had 2 former players as like the running backs coach.
Well, exactly. I
and
mean, you had Dan Campbell doing it. You had Deuce Staley doing it. You had the defensive coordinator doing it. You had Kelvin Shepard. They had everybody who literally seemed like, damn, them dudes was just playing ball like 6 years
they're
ago.
acting like they're practicing.
And now they running this thing as if like they still playing ball.
Yeah,
and you see what it turned into.
And there's a lot of people saw the other perspective, like this place is a madhouse. Like, how are they going to get anything done? It's like because they want to come to work.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what you're getting a little bit from LSU. Obviously, you have Brian Kelly at the top. And I don't think he's jumping around hooting and hollering, but he's not supposed to.
And that's what I said. Like, it doesn't have to be everyone. It doesn't have to come from the top. But being able to either have it and or allowing somebody, whether it's a strength and conditioning guy, whether it's a GA, just somebody that's bringing that thump to practice that is well received by the players, that shit goes a long way, man, because it's hot, bro. It's hot out there. It's hard out there. It's hot as shit out there. And to get guys to continue to go out there and give you that kind of effort, it says a lot.
Yeah.
It really does.
No doubt. And that's what makes me super excited about what we could see from the defense, because that just in itself is going to make the defense better.
Yeah.
Right? They have enough talented guys to get the job done, and I think the energy level is going to make it that much better. Ashton Stamp's been the highlight of the defense throughout the course of these August practices.
Yeah.
Like, every time a report comes out, I think there's only been one day where you really looked at it and said, man, Ashton Stamp's had a tough day. He's obviously coming off an injury or surgery in the offseason, but he has been the number 1 cornerback on the team. Now, we assumed when August practice started, okay, we got everybody's been counting in Zy Alexander. Oh, we got Zy Alexander back. He was really good last year, so he got hurt, all these types of things. Doesn't look like he's going to be available till probably, middle of the year, it feels like. Early part, maybe after the first month and a half of the season. So
that would be the middle of the year.
Yeah, I guess that would be right in the middle of the year, right?
Month and a half.
That would be literally right in the middle of the year. Literally right in the middle of the year. After the first bye week, because now there's 2.
Yeah.
And so they're going to have to go out and who's going to figure out who's going to be in that other slot.
You know what I love too about what they have going on in the secondary right now is it seems to be that Ashton Stamps is taking a huge leap forward in his progression, and I'm excited to see him on the field this year. But there are pretty much all unknown names back there. So you're going to see teams go at him. You're going to see people try him early, and you're going to get a chance to see, like, hey, is this shit real or is it not? So I'm excited to see it because there is no game plan for LSU, and this guy's off limits, at least not for the first few weeks, at least not for the first month of the season. It's, hey, game's open. Let's go get all of them right now because we feel like we can get them until you show us that we can't get you.
There's some highlights of Ashton Stamps. That's a pick, maybe.
Oh, that's the interception. So here's my question, right? If he's on one side, who's on the other?
Oh, that's who emerged today. Who had a good day of practice was J.K. Johnson.
There you go.
Previously ejected from practice, I believe, yesterday for
fighting.
Got in 2 fights. The second one was too much fight. Got to go. Sending you. Today, bounced back and apparently had a great day at camp.
Great. Yeah. You love to see that, right? Came in from Ohio
especially
State.
with the Zy Alexander news, where it felt like not coming along as quickly as John Emery with the same injury, but it has happened at that position. I feel like at least that's what Brian Kelly said. It's a much tougher position to recover from that injury. I mean, I know it's true, but I'm just saying for the layperson, or if you're like running back and corner, what's the difference? But at that position, it's a big difference, and they're moving him along slowly because you have to. So they are looking for that second cornerback to step up.
Well, in this day and age, you're going to have multiple, not just 2, or 3. You're going to have probably 4 or 5 of those guys out there that are going to be able to play. You have P.J. Woodland. You have those types of guys who, you said, are all really unproven, but super talented.
Sage
Ryan, obviously, he's gonna continue to go back and forth.
Yeah, but that's one that's kind of he's gotten lost a little in translation in this camp, which that could either be good or bad, right? Like you just don't know. But if he's able to come out and be productive for him this year, that's a big lift for him.
As of now, right, the first team defense, and as far as practice goes, Savion Jones, which you'd imagine is going to be on the edge. Paez is going to be a defensive tackle. Guillory, who was back, kind of a scare yesterday, back on the field today at defensive tackle.
got in a fight.
Did he get ejected?
No, need him.
Well, he didn't. He took off Emory Jones' helmet and threw it at him, and didn't get ejected.
No, he got grabbed by Bo Davis and brought to the side. And
he just threw it at him. He didn't try to actually hit him.
Yeah,
he didn't Miles Garrett him. He just said, "Here, take your helmet back."
Yeah, I think
but
you're
it
going to
was
need this next rep.
but it was the old number 1 too. Like, hey, throw me the
yeah.
heater on the corner. 0-2.
Yeah, maybe a little sinker on him. Hit him around the kneecaps.
A little chest pass.
Yeah, because I know they don't wear knee pads anymore, so right in the kneecap.
It wasn't. I can tell you what it wasn't. It wasn't a chest pass.
No.
It wasn't right here for you to feed it and put it in right there. No, it wasn't that.
Maybe a little shin burger.
Yeah.
They just feel the face mask on the shins for a little bit because I don't feel very good. But he was back. He's obviously a big piece of the defensive line. Swinson, one of the veteran guys on the edge. Harold Perkins, linebacker. Greg Penn, linebacker. Major Burns, star. And then you got Stamps, and in the starting rotation, you have Sage Dry on the other cornerback with Jordan Gilbert and Jordan Allen, the two safeties. So, that sounds like a pretty good. I know people are kind of going to be like, oh, shit, here we go again with Sage Ryan on the other cornerback spot. Hold on. Last year was the first time they really did that with him, and he had to figure some stuff out. It's a different scheme. Let's hold off on the judgments right now. Let's see how he adjusts to that. Second team, though, you have a lot of cornerbacks that I think are talented enough to kind of send to that first team spot, but aren't there quite.
See,
yet.
and I look at it the other way around. When I look at the second team, is I'm looking up front, and I'm like, man, I'm okay with, for sure in my mind right now today, with seeing a lot of Womack, with seeing a lot of Relaford right now. So if that's right now in my mind, I'm like, all right, well, that's 6 guys we got in the rotation. If the other 2,
and Shan
and
had some moments.
I'm just saying the other 2, Shan and Suggs, can step up and be as consistent, if you will. Well, now you're looking at about 6 to 8 guys that we can rotate and keep fresh in there. That's what you're looking for.
That's what you're looking for.
Let's be honest. I'm sorry. If I don't have a Will Anderson, if I don't have an absolute bookend guy that I know is a top-end producer, man, I need some bodies out there who's going to be relentless, who's going to give me crazy effort, who's going to swarm to the football. That's what you need right there. And I think it's rounding out to look like we have something kind of that's going to work that way.
Yeah. To note, Mason Taylor had an acrobatic catch today. So,
for 1,000 yards or
for
just
1,000 yards? It was an acrobatic catch for 1,000 yards today. It was amazing. They said they actually.
I think the yard counter still goes the same.
If you read between the lines on how this was written, I think everybody thinks he's going to get 1,000 yards this year.
Hey, Field Yates is.
But is it still 3 feet equals 1 yard?
Well, yeah.
Because I think it's still going to be hard to get to 1,000 if it is.
Yeah.
I don't care how acrobatic it is. I think it's still going to be the same.
I think we brought it down to 750.
How many feet are in a mile?
I think we brought it down to 750. But yeah, so he's doing things. Listen, I thought I was going to see more of.
That's not the acrobatic.
That wasn't the acrobatic catch.
This is the acrobatic
Great
catch.
ball. Great ball.
In the bucket.
Great ball. I thought you'd see more in the red zone situations with Trey'Dez Green and those tight ends.
No, keeping that in. They got to keep that.
They didn't say much about him. They may have had moment.
Kamorian Pipton has taken the role over after all of the Trey'Dez Green hype. I guess his neck started to burn a little bit, and he said, "Nah."
Okay,
I've been
so
here.
He's been lighting it up.
Yes,
that's great news.
So now you get both of them going.
That's all 3 of them. All 3 tight ends.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah, 3.
What? 13 personnel.
Hey, I mean, I'm willing to bet those 3 tight ends are as talented, if maybe not more talented than any other tight end group in the country.
Are you willing to bet that those 3 tight ends will produce 1,000 yards together?
Ooh, that's actually a better question than the main. No, I don't think they're going to do that. Okay, 1,000 yards is aggressive. Okay, I'm sorry.
Between 3, though, you might be able to get there. Got a couple out-of-conference games for Trey'Dez Green and Kamorian Pimpton. Kamorian Pimpton going to do it. They're both going to do maybe 20 yards a game.
If all 3 get to 750, maybe.
Nah, see now you You trying to take something that got plus 260 odds on it?
I
Like,
brought the number down to 750.
I'm not giving you 3 dudes to get to 750. Are you kidding me?
Oh, okay. Something about the whole position.
Like what? No.
1,000 though.
No chance. I'm not giving you that.
I don't know. It's gonna be interesting because you're gonna have to have somebody. I mean, like the receivers, you expect them to step up, but you're gonna have somebody be another pass catcher.
CJ Daniels.
Yeah,
he's gonna be another pass catcher. I want to see also how they use and implement Aaron Anderson this year. Is he going to grow in this offense a little more? Is he going to be doing a lot of their horizontal stuff? Like, how are we going to use him this year?
Like that.
He's a weapon. I mean,
was he in bounds there, though? That's the question.
Yeah, he only needs one.
But what did hit one?
Get it.
That's who I want to, because he's got the ability to stretch the field and really stress a defense. It's can he grow in this offense? Can he pick up this offense?
And here's the deal. If he can prove that he can get off the line and stretch the defense and make them respect him going over the top,
I don't care if
that's going to open
Well,
that
here's
up.
the thing. Even if it's not this way, like if you got somebody, like you can do it. Kyron can play down the field. CJ Daniels can play down the field. Xavier Thomas can play down the field as far as for running those routes. It doesn't matter if it's side to side and or vertical. He's got the ability to make you have to cover all 53 and a half and or have to cover this way because he's that explosive. Can he pick it up and actually, progress his role in the offense is kind of what I'm wondering to see, because the physical tools of being able to do that and on the speed side it's already there.
Yeah, no doubt. It's going to be
I think you'll see I know there's been a lot of hype around him just because of how the situation transpired between him being a Louisiana kid, how electric he was at Endicott, picking Alabama, not really playing there, then not really playing at LSU last year. I think he's finally fully healthy, and the way that they have that offense set up with the amount of weapons they have, that's just one more thing you have to worry about.
It is, and that's why. And that's the reason why I posed the question, because it is a lot of times when you have, when you have so many weapons, it kind of, we had this conversation a lot on the baseball side of it. Whereas if I try so hard to spread the ball out to so many dudes and get so many people into it, so many people still don't know their roles and what they're being asked to do. So my question is I know we got the guys, but is he going to step up into a role that sees him get sizable time on the field and allows him to play a lot in the offense? Or is that going to be Xavier Thomas? Or is that going to be CJ Daniels instead? You know what I mean? Like, that's where I want to know, like, can he bump himself into that rotation to where he's seeing a good amount of time to be able to be effective in those situations?
And that's what you have to put a lot, because it does feel like you have Kyron Lacey, who knows probably every position in the playbook.
Yep.
And that's where you're going to have to rely on those guys, like you said, learning all the positions, because you've harped on it a ton where when you were young or whenever you played football and you're like, if you don't know every position, you're not getting out there, because you don't just get to go play one spot and then you're solidified there. It takes everybody to know X, Y, Z, whatever that they put you in so they can trust you to run whatever route. And I think that's where LSU will have probably its biggest, I don't want to say like biggest question mark, but something that you'll know very early on.
And with Kyron too, like, here's my one question when it comes with Kyron too. Like, we still don't know this when it comes to him. What we do know is he was able to be productive and fit into an offense with 2 other first rounders. But does he have the top end ability to be that quote unquote focal point guy, to be that guy that they move around and put in one-on-one matchups, and to be that guy that wins those matchups over and over and over again? Because that is what becoming, like, not even necessarily just your number one, but now we don't necessarily need to pair you on 2-on-2 sides or hide you on as the Z receiver with the strong side. We can move you because we know you can win in pretty much all these situations. If he can do that, I do think that's going to be really good for this offense, because I would expect him to know the offense better than anybody else out there.
Yeah, you need a guy like that's going to go out there like Malik did, where, hey, you knew the ball was coming to me on third down, and I was going to be open. I was going to make even if I wasn't completely open, I was going to make the play. He looks good. So
That's a nasty route.
Huh?
That was a nasty route.
Yeah, and here's my thing about him. Like, when you watched him last year, and I don't know if it's because, I don't know why, but if you watched him last year, he looked like he was, like, bulkier, bigger wide receiver. You look at him right there, he looks like he's, I'm not saying skinny, because he's not skinny, but, like, one of those receivers that's, like, wiry strong, not like the Anquan Bolden type guy, but more of, like, the normal prototypical receiver. And I don't know if that was just the way I saw it, but
and when I look at stuff like that too, like, that's great. Like, don't get me wrong, the physical ability to just be able to do that. But I think people downplay what goes into being able. So, like, that route right there is somewhat of a choice route right there. Malik was able to do that a lot last year. He was able to be the motion guy. We were able to identify what defenses were doing. He's able to have the choice routes and run the routes like this. That takes a lot of on the spot knowing what you're going to do at full speed. That's not just, if you ask me, like that's the route or the progression of what we're going to do is going to start at one here. Can you win in those spots? One, which means can you play super fast in those spots? And that's where I'm wondering, I want to see if he can do that, because he wasn't asked to do that last year. He was asked to be that 3. He wasn't asked to be that 1, the guy that they're moving around, the guy that they're scheming up this play around. That's where it becomes a different thing if he's able to do that this year.
Without a doubt. And Nuss, Nuss has been quiet.
Which
is that a word?
Dude, there's just been so much competition out of this camp. Like, there's so much back and forth.
There's other
on each
storylines
side.
other than Nuss, which I think is a good thing.
Which I think is great.
You know, you don't need to talk to him. You don't need to talk about Nuss too much. Everybody knows what he is. Everybody knows what he can be, and so I like that. I think that's a good thing. Not having a lot of conversation about that and letting the conversation be on the other position groups and other competition that they have.
Yeah, it feels like he doesn't have any competition, right? Like he's earned the right to be able to be quarterback.
Now, what's the
1.
competition for the number 2? Obviously, you have Swan.
Stop looking at me, Swan. Swanson. Slippy, slappy. Samsonite. It's on the briefcase.
Damn, it's on the briefcase. We should have known that.
She's unlisted. It's hot.
But Swan is
what
coming
the hell
in.
movie was that?
Dumb and Dumber.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Swan is coming in as the backup. Obviously, the veteran guy transferred in for Vandy. I wouldn't be so sure if you didn't see later on in the year, Colin Hurley jumped that.
Colin Hurley throws the best ball out of those 3.
Yeah.
But I think Ricky is probably going to be your – I said this earlier today. Somebody in the chat was asking how they've looked in camp, and it has been a back-and-forth affair, but I feel like A.J. Swan has done enough to where if
he's a veteran,
it becomes a middle-of-the-game scenario where Nuss has to come out for a play or two, it's going to be Swan. If it's to get prepared for a game week – I think you'll see Ricky at some point in that game.
Yeah, I will say this too. Like with the quarterback room that they have now, it's not that they don't have talent there, but because of the inexperience and the inexperience in this offense, if there is ever a year that you don't want to have to get to playing the 2, it would be this year.
Yes,
right. Especially in a year where you're thinking like, man, this thing's expanded to 10 teams. I mean, to 12 teams. The chance of getting to just 10 wins is the chance of us getting into a playoff situation. You would like to not have to lose a starting quarterback at all this year because of